Okay, short movie, no intro, no schmuck, just me talking. I am worried about our society. Unfortunately, today, 23rd of March 2016, Belgium got hit by a terrorist attack by the Islamic organization IS or ISIL or whatever they want to call themselves. And I can tell you what's going to happen the coming few days. There will be people defending all Muslims because not all Muslims did this. And they are right. Not all Muslims did this. IS did this. And there will be people complaining how Muslims did this. And they're right too, because IS did this, and IS is a Muslim organization. And society will polarize more. People will be either defending their stance on how Muslims are not to blame, and they will defend that stance against people who will be of the stance Muslims are to blame, because somehow this is not about a Muslim terrorist organization doing this, because both the Muslims and the non-Muslims that try to defend Muslims will defend Muslims. But there is no defense for Muslims. Muslims are not the attacked group. Muslim terrorists are the attacked group. And funny enough, ISIS is doing this, or IS or ISIL is doing this to drive a wedge between people in the West, those that stand with Islam and those that stand against Islam. But that's not the fight we're in. The fight we are in are those against ISIL and those with ISIL. Think about this, please, people. The next time you see a Muslim and you think he's part of ISIS, okay, that's a problem. But when you have a feeling he's not part of ISIS, then don't ask him to defend the actions of ISIS. Because that would be the same as Christians having to defend the actions of the IRA 20 years ago, or the Liberation Army of the Lord 10 years ago. Because, let's be honest, there have been Christian-based terrorists as well. FARC, Colombia, just to name three. It's not about whatever religion you're part of. Personally, I think everyone should forget about religion anyway. I mean, if there is a God, he would have made himself clear by now. The only reason why we have so many religious terrorists out there is because, well, one thing can be sure of, God hasn't made himself very clear. So people are trying to make a whole big deal out of it. And the worst part is, you can't tell people that they're wrong, because if you tell someone they're wrong, oh, you're discriminatory, or you're a racist. I'm sorry. Fuck you. ISIL did this, ISIS did this, IS did this, whatever you want to call them. These Muslims that did this are wrong. Are all Muslims wrong? Hell no. Are there more Muslims like the ones that did this? Hell yes. Just like there are Christians like this, just like there are Buddhists like this, just like there are any other religion, any other philosophy out there with people like this. And as long as there are idiots out there that try to make it about whether it's Muslims that did this or Christians that did this, as long as we have idiots like that, we will never talk what this is about. This is about a terrorist organization. Whoops, I had a small burp there. This is about a terrorist organization. That's what we should be talking about. And what they did is atrocious. So these Muslim terrorists did a terrible thing. So why are we blaming Muslims? Why are we defending Muslims? It's not about Muslims. It's about Muslim terrorists. And the word Muslim is only a small part of that. The word terrorist is a way bigger part of that. Damn, I'm ranting over the head of 30, what, 34, 35 dead, 200 wounded, and we're talking about whether it were Muslims or not. ISIL, ISIS, IS, whatever they want to call themselves, fucktards, they already claimed that they were part of this, that this was their organization. Let's not bog ourselves down with a dumb discussion whether they are Muslim or not, because they seem to think they are. And other Muslims in the Middle East that disagree with ISIS get killed just as hard. So it's not about Muslims, it's about terrorists. ISIS has killed more Muslims than any other organization anywhere in the world at the moment. So stop with the us versus them mentality. There is no them Muslims. There is them ISIS. There is them terrorists. Now, having said this, I know that for the coming weeks, the Muslim organizations in Europe and the Muslim people in Europe will have a hard time, because they will have to make clear that they're really not behind ISIS and that they really stand with the people of Belgium, just like they had to do in France, and that there were good Muslims in France. There is no doubt. There were Jews hiding at a Muslim butcher, and he kept them safe. So this is not about how all Muslims are bad, but the whole thing is that the more people focus on these are Muslims, these are not Muslims, the less we talk about what's actually going on. And what's going on is that 35 people lost their life and over 200 people got injured because of a terrorist attack by ISIS or IL or whatever. I'm ranting, and it's not even about me. Again, one of the reasons I guess I'm this angry is because it does touch me. I fear for Europe. I fear for Muslims living in Europe that are law-abiding citizens. And I fear for non-Muslims in Europe that are law-abiding citizens. Because the way we are polarizing this situation only fuels Muslim terrorists like ISIS. I would prefer to see one large group of people, Muslims and non-Muslims, combined against terrorists like ISIS. But as long as we have non-Muslims sticking up for the Muslims saying, yeah, but these are not Muslims. Hell, if you would say not all Muslims are like this, then at least I would agree with you. It's a useless argument, but I would agree with you. But if you are going to say, yeah, but these aren't Muslims, then fuck you. You just made the situation worse. Because they are Muslims, and they are killing Muslims that they don't agree with. And you're pretending they're not. Stop it, please. Now, not all Muslims are ISIS. Of course not. But let's not pretend ISIS is not a Muslim organization. And thank God most Muslims do not agree with ISIS. But that doesn't make ISIS a non-Muslim organization. If you're religious, pray for the people in Belgium. If you're religious, pray for the religious people. If you're like me, think about them and think for a better tomorrow.